the short people up front.
Okay.
Short people to the front.
Colleen, one more in. Is that it?
All right, try to see me. Here we go. I'm going to take 3 over here. All right, good, thank you.
Congratulations.
Classy way. Yeah, that's I like that.
Now, Viterbo University Distinguished Alumni Awards. The first Viterbo University Distinguished Alumni Award was presented in 1967. Over the 46 years since then, this honor has been conferred upon 107 alumni who represents professions and all walks of life. Recipients are not given this Distinguished Alumni Award. Rather, recipients have earned this award through their outstanding contributions to their professions, their willingness to serve selflessly, and their devotion to the Franciscan ideals that we all hold dear. They are servant leaders who consistently place others first. To these individuals, servant leadership is not a part-time commitment. Instead, it is a way of life. Would all the past recipients of Viterbo University Distinguished Alumni Award who are in attendance please stand so we might recognize you. And tonight, we add your names to this list. Distinguished Alumni Award, Service to the University. Our first Distinguished Alumni Award is in the category of Service to the University and is granted tonight to Margaret Hamill. Margaret has been an avid supporter of Viterbo and its nursing program through endowed scholarship. Margaret is happy to participate in this way in the education of nursing students, as she feels Viterbo is a special place for students to learn their profession and become caring members of our society. Margaret has created 3 endowed scholarships in memory of her husband and family members and feels this is a way that she can honor these individuals. One of the most rewarding aspects in Margaret's giving is receiving letters from scholarship recipients and the scholarship luncheon so she can connect with the students that she supports and find out about their lives, their goals, their aspirations. Margaret stays involved at Viterbo by attending and volunteering at many events and currently serves on Viterbo's alumni board. To this day, Margaret applies the lessons that she learned as a student at Viterbo University and selflessly gives of herself in faithful service and ethical leadership. I worship with Margaret every Sunday, and she is a woman of strong faith and quiet grace. You honor us by your generosity and presence, and tonight, Margaret, we honor you. Please come forward to receive your award from Dr. Artman.
First of all, I want to congratulate the other award winners. You are all very deserving of these awards. I want to say thank you to the Viterbo Alumni Association Board and to everyone who is involved in my selection for this award. It is very gratifying to receive an award for performing a service that in and of itself provides much satisfaction. Thanks also to my family and friends who are here to join in this celebration. Several years ago, I was looking for a way to leave a legacy. The idea of a scholarship to Viterbo came up, and I decided to include an endowed scholarship in my estate plan. A member of the institutional advancement staff asked if I might be interested in providing for scholarships while I was still alive. In that way, I could realize some tangible benefits from my gift. I had not thought about this before, but it was an interesting idea. So I pursued it further and decided to establish an endowed scholarship at that time. One of the requirements for setting this up is to write a protocol. This describes the scholarship and provides information about the people in whose memory the scholarship is named. For me, this is a nice way to memorialize the members of my family. At the time, I was also asked in what field I wanted to award the scholarship. Since I am an accountant by trade, it was a natural presumption that I would provide an endowed scholarship for students in the accounting field. I thought about this for a minute and said no. There are enough accountants in the world. There can never be enough nurses, so my scholarships are for nurses or are for students in the nursing field. I currently have 3 endowed scholarships in memory of my husband, my parents, and my brother. Aside from the personal gratification of assisting someone to fulfill their dreams of helping others, there are other tangible benefits which I have enjoyed. First are the thank you letters that I have received from each of the recipients. In addition to expressing their gratitude for the scholarship, they may share why they applied for a particular scholarship and their future plans in the nursing field. They often talk about their family background and their interests, as well as giving other information about their lives. Occasionally, a recipient will also include a picture. Reading these letters is very gratifying to me. It makes me feel as if I'm promoting good in the world. The second tangible benefit is the benefactors luncheon that is held each spring. This luncheon allows benefactors to meet some of the scholarship recipients. It is very gratifying to put a face to a name. These recipients have all been great individuals. They talk about how they are doing in school and some of their recent activities. Because this luncheon is in the spring, many of the recipients talk about their graduation plans if they are seniors. And I have found that they are interested in learning about me and my family and why I decided to endow a particular scholarship. It is very rewarding to exchange this information. At one of the luncheons, I even met a recipient who knows my husband's family quite well. As a benefactor, I do not participate in the selection of the scholarship recipients. I am sure that it must be a difficult process to decide to whom scholarships should be awarded when there are so many worthy applicants. I will tell you a story about 2 of the recipients of my scholarships. In 2008, I received a thank you letter from a young man named Andrew, who grew up in the area that I am from. He included a picture of himself. What caught my eye was that he was wearing a Walk-On Indians t-shirt. Since several of my family members still live around Walk-On, I contacted one of my nieces to ask if she knew Andrew. It turns out that her son is a good friend of this young man. I thought that was really neat. To continue the story, this past summer I received a thank you letter from a young lady named Erin, who is also from the Walk-On area. She indicated that she had applied for this scholarship after reading the scholarship protocol. This particular scholarship is in memory of my parents who lived around Walk-On. When I read her name, I thought that the last name sounded familiar. So I went back through my files, and sure enough, she had the same last name as the young man from a few years before. So I emailed my niece and asked her if she knew Aaron and if Aaron was related to Andrew. As it turns out, they are brother and sister. This was really overwhelming for me to think that I have been able to assist 2 members of the same family from my hometown to achieve their goals of helping and caring for others. How cool is that? And who knows, maybe one day as nurses, they will be taking care of me. In conclusion, Providing scholarships has been extremely rewarding for me. Thank you again for recognizing this service.
Let me update my introduction. Quiet, powerful grace. Our second Distinguished Alumni Award, Young Alumni, is awarded to Michael Krieger, who graduated in 2010. While in school, Michael studied abroad for a semester in Cusco, Peru, and then went to Ecuador. And upon returning, Michael was homeless. So we invited him to come and live at the Place of Grace Catholic Worker Home. Place of Grace and Michael have never been the same since. While he was here, he completed his degree in ministry with minors in Spanish and Latin American studies. He stayed for an extra year at the Place of Grace as a coordinator. And let me tell you, this man is a servant. But how could he be otherwise? His mother, who's with us tonight, has for 25 years worked in a homeless shelter at St. Ben's in Milwaukee, providing dignity and God's grace to all who are in need. Michael currently is in the servant leadership program here at Viterbo, getting his master's degree, and he's an affiliate of the Franciscan Sisters of Perpetual Adoration. Michael married fellow graduate Haley Carls Lang in 2011, moved to Chicago, and worked in homes with adults with developmental disabilities. When Michael and Haley decided to end their sabbatical in Chicago and return to La Crosse, Michael accepted a position with Catholic Charities, where he is the coordinator for the Dwelling Place, a home where adults with developmental disabilities live and thrive in a Christian community. Michael describes the challenge and the joy of discovering Christ in each person who walks through the door and continually seeks to incorporate the dynamics of Catholic social teaching with the challenges and beauty of recognizing God as the stranger and Christ as the guest. Michael's reflections and intellect are an inspiration to us all, and we are really impressed by your joy, Tonight, it gives us all great privilege and pleasure to have you accept this award as our young distinguished alumni.
First off, thank you to everyone here for just coming to be in support of us as alumni, the class here, as well as just some of the FSPA in the audience who were inspirations to me throughout graduation. I'd also like to thank my family who's here, my wife Haley, those people who have to live with me during those ordinary moments of life where I may not be so inspirational. So thank you to them. Back at home, I have an old wooden desk. It's a type of desk that is well worn from use, scuff marks across the surface, much of the grain faded or marked, scratches etched into the wood. And in the middle drawer of this desk, there's a folder that is filled with an assortment of papers. In this folder are items which I've come across over the years and have chosen to hold on to because of an insight that was shared or the significance that they hold. It could be a paper, a depiction of art, a commentary on social justice, or a simple reflection. All of these kept in a tattered folder in my desk. One item that was placed in this folder years ago, roughly 7 years, was a card given to me during my freshman year at Viterbo. This card, which I have here, it's kind of difficult to see from here, is a picture of St. Rose of Viterbo, which is printed on the front of it. During my first week of school as a freshman, this card was taped to the office door of one of my professors who I had scheduled to meet with on that particular morning. The card reads, Good morning, Michael. My early meeting is going to go through to 9 a.m. Stop by after 9 a.m. class for a minute so we can talk. For some reason, I held onto that card, pulling the tape off of Earl Maderi's door and placing it on my desk and later into that folder. It is a very simple note given to me during my first week of school, and yet it was the beginning of many notes to come from others who I've interacted with or met along the way. There was nothing especially noteworthy about that note, written from a teacher to a student, but where that note has led has been particularly remarkable. Since that first week of school, I've lived in community as a Catholic worker, shared meals and held conversations with the stranger seated next to me, washed dishes and become drawn to the FSPA and the spirit of Francis, learned of social inequality steeped in Latin American history that led to the gates of Fort Benning, and reflected on the question of who do you say that I am as an introduction to a new understanding of theology. And even after graduation, having worked for the last 2 years among adults with developmental disabilities, now married, navigating the different facets of life, I still look back upon that card, originally taped to Earl's office door, and realize that it was during those small interactions and moments of ordinary insights that the sacred began to emerge. And although I have yet to know how such choices will ultimately come to pass, tell me, as Mary Oliver writes, what else should I have done? How else are we to live our lives if not surrounded by both friend and stranger, sharing in the burden, but also the joy and the bonum of each other? For holiness, as Robert Ellsberg writes, is not a state of perfection, but a faithful striving that lasts a lifetime. It is expressed primarily in small ways, day after day, through the practice of forgiveness, patience, self-sacrifice, and compassion. Such is